We are live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. And ladies and gentlemen, this man, I can't believe we were talking about this off the air, has not been here in nearly 4 months, but he'll make up for it. We got a lot to talk about, especially with the establishment. We'll get into where they've been, where they will be, and everything in between, especially in the world of HCW, because we are just less than 3 weeks away from what's in store. Yeah, we're getting into that. We're also going to talk about SSW. Boy, I got a lot to say on that because I got an announcement for this man about a man that's going to be in this guy's chair next Tuesday. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about a guy that this guy and his tag team partner beat in SSW back on Black Friday, November 14th. I got the footage for that. Let's just say this footage will most certainly be wanted for Joey Knight Jr. to show. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the SSW champion. We'll also talk about a show coming up in March that, well, is going to combine not one, not two, but 3 promotions. Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll also get into what this guy was doing at an Impact show in the front row, and are they going to use him? Because after all, I mean, I hear that they've left a whole bunch of places, and maybe they got some free agents that they want to replace with this guy, and I'll talk about that. Plus, we'll talk about an award that this man won, which I am sure you and everyone else out there are going to want to hear. Now, I know that this man has been here many times in the past, but I now must give him that introduction that he is so formally gotten. And after all, since he is a little part of history that yours truly runs, which is the PWF, which we are still a thing on Instagram, although we lost the YouTube channel. I have no idea why we lost it, but we'll still, nevertheless, owe this man that introduction. So, ladies and gentlemen, Winter Storm Fern cannot stop us. The cold cannot stop us. And most certainly, not even Carnage can stop this introduction. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show off here in style on Sportzwire Radio, the #1 global radio station where all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. So, with that, wait for it. Further ado here on the Sports Report. #1 cable sports show. A man that was once the HCW Hardcore one half of the Tag Team Champions, the 2025 HCW Showstopper of the Year. His name is simply put, the Brickhouse Joe. Joey Knight Jr. My friend, how are we doing?
Man, we're doing great. Oh, my ears that they have missed hearing that beautiful intro. Like you said, it's been 4 long months since I've got to hear that. So thank you for blessing my ears with that this evening.
And I do feel like I owe you that intro because, again, of your history in the PWF, and I am the owner of the PWF, which I know is the question that everyone has had on their minds for the past 18 months. What are we doing with what we are on Instagram? We do have the Discord group open, but I don't know what we're going to do with that. But you're here, so at least we did the best we could to at least honor the group. But a lot to get to. It has been way too long, Joey Knight Jr.
Yeah.
But let's talk about it. Because for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you, the PWF, HCW, and SSW, and among others, have certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio. I got to ask you, what did it mean to you to be the 2025 HCW Showstopper of the Year?
Man, it meant a lot. Like that totally caught me off guard. Like I knew we were doing a award ceremony that day, but I didn't know anything. They caught me completely off guard. I didn't know what kind of awards we were going to be giving out. I didn't know who was going to be getting them. And when they said my name, I was like, I looked around like, wait, like did she actually say my name or is she mistaken? uh, and sure enough, she did say my name. HCW 2025 Showstopper of the Year. Just consistently going out there and stealing the show, as some people say, which, as even though I don't want to give them credit, I do have to give them credit because I was in the ring with them. I had some bloody wars with, the guys like Matthew De Luna, Leslie Lorenzo, the Sandman, Damian
We
Gray.
spoke a lot
Yeah.
about the Sandman on here.
Yeah, so, as much as I don't want to give them credit, I have to give them credit as well because they were my dance partners for a lot of those brutal encounters that the HCW fans remembered throughout the year. So it was definitely an honor to get that prize.
No question about that. And I think it shows the progress you've made and your determination. And that's certainly an award that, not many people get. And I almost have to make you laugh. Had you ever win an award in school? When I was a kid, and maybe some people in the chat would say the same thing. They used to have those awards, whether it was like the honor roll or it was the principal's list. And I remember when I was in elementary school, we had it was Arista Archon. And I never forget. I remember, I think, in third grade, I got it. I didn't get it in fourth grade, but I got some kind of award in that in fifth grade. So the point is that, some people like getting awards. And this is the first time you got an award before, no?
For pro wrestling, yes, it's the first time I've gotten an award. I mean, like you said, honor roll for A's and B's a bunch of times in school. I remember in eighth grade, I got like a Ray McDonald award for some reason. It was like something about like character or whatever. I randomly have that somewhere in the house, but yeah, as far as pro wrestling goes, this is like the first actual award I've gotten. So I'll always remember it as they always say. You always remember your first. And this one right here I'll always remember it.
And I have said that here time and time again. And obviously it's too bad. If we had the PWF up and running, we could have certainly used that this was Joey's first award in pro wrestling. Although I've given you a few certificates, so I don't know if that counts. But nevertheless, it is certainly a well-deserved honor. And you've definitely come a long way since the days of the PWF. But nevertheless, let's get into what's going on in HCW at Valentine's Vengeance. And that takes place on the usual second Saturday of the year. Well, when does that fall? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on Valentine's Day.
Yep.
On
Valentine's Day. Hopefully my fellow partners in the establishment, hopefully, they won't be sleeping on the couch that night. I have nothing to worry about, but hopefully their significant others are all right with them whooping some tail on the 14th. But yeah, February 14th out in Prescott, Arkansas. Same day, same time, same building, 841 G Street over there in Prescott, Arkansas. Yep. I got my hands full that evening with the social media champion, non-title though. I don't know how Chris Preston keeps worming his way in these situations where they kind of benefit him, but I do have Chris Preston in a non-title match. By far, I know I've held championships before, but simply because of the accolades he's had over his career and how long he's been in the pro wrestling business, it's the biggest match of my career I've had so far.
And you've had some big matches. We've talked with you numerous times last year, and this is a man that clearly has the experience edge, and he also has championship gold and a championship belt that you guys in the establishment had fought for a long time to capture, but no longer have. So I would have to think this is also a big sticking point between yourself, Aaron Black, the former champion, and the Real Deal Eclipse, that you got to get a victory here, because especially after you guys had fought so hard to get that championship, and Aaron gets it and we lose the title, and I would have to think you guys have been talking about the importance of you getting a victory here to prove a point that you guys lost the championship that you had fought so hard to claim.
Absolutely. especially me and Aaron, because after all, you did say he is the former champion. He lost the title to Chris Preston through nefarious circumstances. Then he got screwed out of his
Yep.
title rematch by Draven Murrow, who I've had my issues with. Eclipse is going to have his issues
Mm,
with here soon.
yep.
But, you know, I've had my conversations with Aaron Black, and he let me know, like, hey, you can't go into this match trying to win it for me, trying to get payback for me. I had my opportunity. It's no longer there. It's now your opportunity. And if you win and that results in you getting a social media title match, run with it. And I will. I am going to beat Chris Preston on February 14th. And that title, when I beat Chris Preston on February 14th, it's going to start a countdown. And that countdown is going to be how many days until that title comes back into the establishment.
So Aaron is fine with the fact, let's say you beat Mr. Preston, and then let's say if all goes to plan the following month, potentially you get a title shot. He's A-okay with that. The one and only Aaron Black. He's okay with this.
Yes, we have talked about it privately, and he is okay with whatever scenario happens, whether that be me ending with the social media title, or if things go for worse and I don't beat Chris Preston, then okay, that just means Aaron Black. Hopefully, somewhere down the line, HCW management will make it right, since he did get screwed over in his title rematch. Hopefully, HCW management will make it right somewhere down the line, and he get a proper rematch for the social media title if I did come up short. So I mean, Aaron's fine with it either way, and not gonna lie, because I did go into it a little bit thinking like, it's non-title. I can afford to maybe lose the match as long as I put a good whooping on Chris Preston in the process. But Aaron told me like, hey, win the match, because
No,
that's gonna be
you know
more.
what? And I'm glad that Aaron said that, because you have certainly had, let's just say, not the best of outcomes these last few matches in HCW. So you may say on paper, yeah, I can afford to lose a match, but I'm with Aaron. I think the reverse. You need a victory here, because you brought up Draven and Mr. De Luna. You talked about him, and we saw what happened there once again. So really, your last few months, you need a win. You need a victory right now. I mean, so to me, I don't think you can afford a loss at all. If anything, I think you badly need a win.
And yeah, there is the flip coin that we've talked about. Aaron as well brought that up. Like, hey, you're on a slump right now. Draven, he knocked you out with his brass knuckles. De Luna, and I'll admit, I wasn't fully focused on De Luna. Truman and De Luna's dad, they were out there at ringside, and I was too focused on making sure Truman and his dad stayed at bay instead of worrying about Matthew De Luna, and it cost me in the end. De Luna shoved those thumbtacks right in my eye, gave me a cutter, 1, 2, 3, it was over. So, yeah, while unselfishly, I was trying to think of Aaron Black in that situation and just worry about, him getting his title back. Aaron did kind of snap me out of it and made me realize, like, actually, no, like, this match is more important than what I think it is. And it was never lost on me because, like I said, this is by far the biggest match in my career. As far as, like, competition-wise and the level of competition I have, it it doesn't get any higher than what I've had so far here in my career with Chris Preston.
Absolutely.
He's
We've
the
talked about him in the past. We've talked about him with Eclipse. There's certainly their history. I mean, so this is a victory you need. I mean, you really need a victory right now, because, I mean, like I said, if you went into it, let's say, and I still don't agree with this, but let's say if you had won, let's say, like a Goldberg winning streak. All right, then in that case, I guess eventually things would maybe, well, you lose one. But in this case, I think you really need a victory. This is a prove it moment, because we've seen with Eclipse and what Aaron have done, but you kind of need your victory here to show that, you know what, you can get championship gold again here in HCW. You've always had this issue throughout in HCW. We've seen what Eclipse has done. We know what Aaron has fought through. But really, getting a victory against Chris Preston, title or not, would certainly show that Joey Knight Jr., he's the Brickhouse, but most importantly, he's that straw that stirs the drink here in the establishment. That's why I think this is must win.
Yeah, because right now I feel I'm at a point in my career where I'm I'm butting my head against that next ceiling. People say there's a ceiling, and you try to break through that ceiling, grab the
Yep.
brass ring, all those things. I feel like the past few months, my head's just been bouncing back and forth off that next ceiling. I've already gone past a couple, but I've just been bouncing off that next level. And if I beat no, not if, when I beat Chris Preston on
There you
February
go.
14th, when I beat him, I'm going to crash through that next ceiling and we're going to go on the up and up. Like I said in my promo, with the snow here coming in Texas and all that, a lot of people look at snow as the changing of a season, the official change from one season to another. Maybe that's a sign for where my career is at right now. Maybe I'm no longer needed in the hardcore division. Maybe Joey Knight Jr. doesn't need to worry about the hardcore title anymore. Maybe I need to look on to other things in Haybarn Championship Wrestling, whether it be the social media title when I beat Chris Preston in the non-title match on February 14th and chase after that. Or maybe one of the other titles. Maybe I go back after the tag team titles, become a 2-time tag team champion. Who knows what my career holds, but regardless of what it will hold in the future, it all starts on February 14th. And like you said, it is a must-win situation.
No, this is must win. And the way you were describing things, not getting to the next level, I mean, that sounds like a quarterback that just got eliminated a few weeks ago from a place that you have experience with in Buffalo. That sounds like a guy named Josh Allen who's been struggling to reach that next level. And that may be where you are, or is it a sophomore slump? Is it a sophomore jinx? We know that happens sometimes. You get into the second year in anything, and especially in wrestling, and things kind of go a different way. We've seen that. We mentioned it with Goldberg, Ryback in the past. I mean, we can see it all the time in the past with wrestlers. They just go down, and it would be kind of fitting for you also to get a victory over Chris Preston, because we talked about you as the showstopper of the year in 2025, but then also to maybe be the social media champion. Because when we think of Joey Knight Jr., you are this guy that people know on social media. The YouTube channel, which everybody should hit a sub for if you haven't yet, which I have no idea if you didn't. You should now, because he's got over 2,200 subs. We know you're following on Instagram and Facebook. So really, it might be most fitting for you, Joey Knight Jr., should, or as you say, when you beat Chris Preston coming up here in 2 weeks, that you'll get that opportunity to be that HCW social media champion.
I mean, yeah, and I mean, you pointed out right there. I would make the argument that as far as Haybarn Championship Wrestling is concerned, and as far as consistent competitors that come through the company, I would argue that I am the most socially active. I would argue that I am the most out there on social media.
Your matches up on YouTube, always posting promos, always going certainly full throttle in the extra mile. And that's why it would be fitting if the Brickhouse Joey Knight Jr., like you said, when you beat Chris Preston non-title, get yourself that opportunity to win that HCW social media title. That's why it would be so fitting. Of all people, it's you, sir.
Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I can't think of an argument against it, to be quite frank with you. It's the most apropos situation. Joey Knight Jr., social media champion, it only makes sense. And step one to that journey, February 14th, we got a big wall in front of us, but it's a wall I can smash through. They don't call me the Brick House for nothing, baby.
He's a brick house. Dun, 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 dun. He's got the moves to show Chris Preston why he's a brick house. Dun, 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 dun. February 14th. Yeah, you got to go to watch HCW 841 G Street. Dun, 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 dun. We got Joey Knight Jr. He's on Sportswire Radio with the Reverend Tom Bryce. Dun, 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 dun. Joey Knight Jr., he's part of the establishment now. And you know that Zach Smith is watching because he knows that the only place he's got to be is Sportswire. He's asked for the last 4 months, where is the establishment? But guess what? Joey Knight Jr. is here right now, live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage. That's right, Joey Knight Jr. You've got that opportunity to show the world why the Commodores may have had that song, but you are the one carrying the flag for Lionel Richie and everybody else. And I have no doubt You have that opportunity right in front of you, and you are going to seize that day, sir. We are very excited about that. I will come back to HCW in a second, but I understand that you're going to be somewhere else that we've talked a lot about, and I have an announcement for in a few minutes of somebody else coming on here in your chair, and I'm very excited for you to be back February 22nd at SSW.
Yes, Super Southern Wrestling. I consider my second home.
Yes, love that place.
I love the crew that's down there. I love the environment that's down there, the fans that are down there. Every time I performed in that building, it's been that's just the great part about wrestling in Houston because of how big the city is. Every
Absolutely.
time you wrestle down there, it's a different type of crowd, it's a different type of energy every single time you're down there. So I'm looking forward, man, to going back down there February 22nd. Me and Eclipse, we're going to run it back in the establishment. Fatal four-way tag. Aaron Black, he's going to have his opportunities in singles competition. Aaron Black's going to be making his SSW debut. The establishment 2026. It's our year. We're all riding together. We're all traveling and hopping through all these different places, trying to make a name for ourselves. And as you can see right there,
I got the
8700
poster, and
Long
so
Point
many people
Road.
that I know. I mean, listen, there's D'Angelo the Flame. I definitely knew him once upon a time. Mickey Vargas, definitely from my state, who I do want to point out, it really wasn't a shot at Josh Allen. I mean, we are New Yorkers. We were rooting, obviously, for Buffalo to get past Denver, but we made the point where Joey Knight Jr. is in his career. We've got CJ Blaine. I certainly know him. I mean, we can keep going down. And obviously, I mean, it's going to be a show that we're very excited about. I'll make an announcement toward that in a few minutes. And to be in Houston, the big city, and you can kind of show here why maybe a few months ago when the establishment got a victory over somebody here in the chat, that it wasn't a fluke.
I mean, call it what you want to call it. At the end of the day, all that matters is the establishment has the W next to their name. I mean, that's all I can say about it. They want to be upset about it. Hey, February 14th, that's the opportunity.
Well, that opportunity was against one man that happened on November the 14th, who we'll see on February the 22nd. That is Mr.
22nd, yes, my
Vargas.
apologies.
Don't worry, I got you, Joey. Don't worry, I can bust out another Lionel Richie tune or two. After all, American Idol, here we come. But nevertheless, listen, Mr. Vargas, now his point's going to be made. It was a fluke, but really, he had the match in firm control, and then, as we're going to see in a few minutes, his tag team partner just decided, well, he flipped the script. I mean, so what do you say when it comes to that victory? Well, it wasn't even a fluke. It should have never happened.
I mean, that's just one of those things. Like, I mean, yeah, we could sit here and talk about the semantics of it. We could sit here and talk about, well, that victory shouldn't have happened. Well, my question is, why did Mr. X feel the need to, drop the hammer down on Mickey Vargas? What was going on there between them that they couldn't just get along? Why can't they just be like the establishment and get along like brothers and just be one nice, big, happy family?
Well, you guys have had your issues though in the past. You have had plenty of issues in the past with one certain individual that caused havoc within your group. So it hasn't always been sunshine and rainbows, to quote Rocky Balboa.
Yes, but once we got rid of the rat, once we got rid of the mole, once we got rid of he who shall not be named, everything has been going smoothly ever since then. We ain't had no fights, no arguments, no nothing. Everything's been run smoothly. So, I'll come in there and say that. Once we got rid of the mole, everything's been fine. Everything's been dandy over here at the establishment household. But, hey, like February 22nd, Mickey Vargas, he's going to have another opportunity. He'll have a different partner, and he can maybe show and prove that he's better than the establishment. I don't think he is. He ain't a true diamond in the rough of professional wrestling. That's the establishment. That's Joey Knight Jr. That's Eclipse. That's Aaron Black. Well, on the 22nd of February, Houston, Texas, Mickey and Big Hoss, they're going to be teaming up. They'll have the opportunity. And we got two other teams breathing down our necks. They'll have that opportunity to prove that they're the best tag team in SSW as well. I mean, I'm going to say that we are, I
Yeah.
think our track record across all the different promotions, HCW, SSW, I think our track record everywhere we've gone speaks for itself. But we're going to find out the true answer on February 22nd.
There's no question that your track record is very good. I mean, there is no doubt in anybody's minds. But it was interesting that you had brought up the Big Hoss, and the Big Hoss is Mickey Vargas's tag team partner on the 22nd. And the Big Hoss has certainly, if you've been following this platform, has a very interesting history with the Big Hoss, which goes actually even to the 716. And that's why I'm going to announce it here that the Big Hoss is returning in your chair, Joey Knight Jr., same time, same bat channel, next Tuesday night. And he'll probably talk about a few of the things you have to say or have already said when it comes to SSW.
I will definitely be tuning in for that one. Big Hoss next Tuesday. All right. I'll be listening. I'll be tuning in. Yeah. Me and Big Hoss, we have quite the interesting history as well.
Yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. I was speaking with the Big Hoss about this, and I had said to him, you're right. You should be back on Sportswire because the Big Hoss is famous for a few reasons, because he was the guy, the first interview I did after I felt like I went to Moses and saw the light when I had my my tooth extracted, and I could barely talk, and the Big Hoss was here, and now he gets to have me here 100% in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage. But we were talking about this, and he had said, that's exactly why I want to come back on Sportswire, because Joey Knight Jr. gets the first shot, and he'll finish the job after what you're going to say here and give us a preview of what we can expect February the 22nd.
Hey, me and Hoss, like I said, we have a history. We've had a couple encounters before across ACW, USWX, whether it be Houston, Livingston. We've had a couple triple threat matches. We've came across each other in Battle Royal. Every time we faced each other, it's been a brawl. It's been a war. And February 22nd, it's going to be no different. Fatal four-way, it's going to get crazy. May as well throw the rule book out the window. The referee, don't worry about anything except the pinfall or submission. Just stand back, sit in one of the seats, have a popcorn, have a drink, just relax for about 15, 20 minutes because it's going to be a brawl. It's going to be a Donnybrook. Hell's going to break loose on February 22nd.
Oh, to quote Kiss, all hell's breaking loose, and we're very excited about that. We are very excited to be talking about the show over the next few weeks, and I'll even throw it out there, Mr. Knight, that I'm sure that Mr. Vargas is wanted to come back on Sportswire, and I am sure that Mr. Vargas is going to talk about this match, and I'm sure his and other people's, or even many people's minds, an accidental victory that the establishment had. And he will be back on Sportswire, I can rest assured, before the 22nd to, talk about this match and among many other things you say.
Hey, and don't get me wrong by anything I've said so far. Don't get me wrong. I was in the ring with Mickey for a little bit during this tag match. He's a hard hitter. All right, he's tough. He's strong. All right, that man is strong. He is tough.
Very strong. Yes.
Yeah, he's vicious. Well, hold on. We're about to get a nice
and I was waiting
shot
for
right
that.
here.
And I want to say hello to my friend Maria out there, my lovely friend Maria, who's about to watch this, and I'm sure it's going to get really interesting here. But wait a minute, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Did I just see what I just saw? And Mr. X just flipped the script on his tag team partner, and I guess it was an unwanted team.
Yeah, that's definitely one way of putting it. Like I said, I don't know what was going on between those two where Mr. X's side. Yeah, the best solution to this is just knee the man in the head. I don't know what Mickey may have said or done to him before the match, in the back, a couple days before, a week before, whatever. I don't know what Mickey would have done. Because, like you said, and some people may say that Mickey had the victory well in hand right there before Mr. X got involved. But so that needs some explanation right there. Mr. X just did not like Mickey so much that when victory was clear in sight, he decided, nah, I don't want the win. I just want to knee this man in the head. sounds like to me Mickey's not a very good tag team partner. So sounds like to me Big Hoss is not going to have a fun night on February 22nd. Is Big Hoss going to do the
Mm.
same thing to Mickey Vargas that Mr. X did? Is Mickey Vargas going to play a little, you know what, I'm going to do this to him before he can do it to me because he has trust issues now, I guess? I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just
Now,
saying.
you say that Mr. Vargas has trust issues,
He
and I'll
might.
talk to the big horse. Well, I'm going to talk to the big horse about it because you may say that, but on February the 22nd, Mr. Vargas is going to be reunited with, well, let's just say brothers of his, and these guys who certainly have their own history and very interesting history with Mr. Vargas. And one guy is Luke Draven, a man I interviewed once upon a time, and the other guy that I have long thought is one of the more intriguing guys out there in the ring and outside, Mr. JTA, J to the Awesome. And those guys are going to be there, and not just going to be in attendance as fans. They're going to be a part of the action. I'm sure that Mr. Vargas and them, they can get along. They can coexist. So the big horse, I'm sure he'll certainly have a few things to say about this. And I can pretty safely say that Mr. Vargas, he won't have too many problems if anything else happens like we just saw at Black Friday on November the 14th. Just saying.
And I'm just saying, establishment, like I said, we're going to be full numbers on February 22nd. Aaron Black's joining us. We're going to have the whole crew. So if Mickey wants to even out those numbers, if Mickey wants to start something, guess what? I got 2 other guys with me. Bring all your friends. I don't care where they come from. I don't care if they are from Buffalo. I don't care if they are from Houston. Bring them from West Virginia. Bring them from the Hotel California. Bring them from wherever. The establishment's going to be ready for any and everyone.
Well, is Joey Knight Jr. want to be starting something? Joey Knight Jr. in the establishment. You know, he's going to have a real deal clips and Aaron Black. But will Mickey Vargas, he's going to now have his friends that were once unwanted. Yeah, yeah. JTA is yeah. With Luke Draven, there's not going to be any more of unwanted members in Buffalo because now they're wanted. And Houston and SSW. Yeah. We're going to be starting something on Sportswire Radio. Yeah, you know that. The big horse will have something to say about this next Tuesday night. Yeah. 9 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah. Let's get to some of the chat. Yeah. We're going to get to some of those chat right now because we're going to certainly break out into some more rhymes and some here. Let's do that because there's plenty that want to say a few things to you. Zilla is here first. Thank you, Zilla. Thank you very much for being here. There is my lovely friend Maria who is here. And thank you for also joining the conversation. And there he is. The man, the myth. Mr. Mickey Vargas. And he's the guy, by the way, that's gotten the social media views. You do remember that clip on Instagram.
Yeah. Trust me. Me and like 2 million other people saw it. We saw how crazy Mickey Vargas is, all right? Trust me, I know. that thought is not lost on me whatsoever.
Well, you're going to be reminded about that between now and the next month, I'm sure. And there it goes. He's lucky my partner turned on me. I want to say hello to the host of Snacks and Suplexes, Michael, now the running rebel, and wants to say hope everyone is staying warm in these cold times. Yes, it is so cold that it's for the first time, Joey, even I have thought about going from the 718 to elsewhere warmer. So Mickey did it like 6 months before the rest of us did, though. So we'll have to see. I could never have imagined saying could afford losing a match. Listen, that was my point. You know, there's always a must, especially because after your last few matches against Draven and Matthew DeLuna and losing the hardcore title a few months prior to that. That's why, listen, what I said, this is as must-win a match for you as you could have.
Well, like the great Eric Bischoff says, context is king. Mickey Vargas taking things out of context right there. So
just ammo for him for February 22nd. Just plenty of ammo for him. Listen, that's what he's doing. And if you like what you see from Joey Knight Jr., or if you need some Oppo research, hit the sub button for him on YouTube because Joey Knight Jr.'s got a lot of content. He's got a lot of different things out there, and I would highly recommend that you check him out on YouTube and like everyone else has. So he's the guy that is the social media darling on YouTube, and he doesn't quite have a 2 million clip view like Mickey Vargas does on Instagram, but he does have nearly 2,300 subscribers. So go out there, and I would really appreciate if you hit the sub button for Joey. Let's get to some more comments. Also, he had thought, why'd I have to bring the Bills up? We are cool, but the point is that you're in that position where you've had success in HCW, certainly hardcore tag team championship, but now you have to figure out to get on that same level like Aaron Black and certainly the Real Deal Eclipse. And I think that's why it's a big moment for you, and we'll find out what happens. Speaking of people that have plenty of energy and do a much better job at covering professional wrestling than yours truly, the one and only Rick Del Santo. He is the host of the Pro Wrestling Wire, and the Pro Wrestling Wire is very important because our friend Courtney Wood works there, and Rick covers a lot of wrestling content, professional wrestling and independent wrestling and everywhere else in between. And if you want to be on Rick's show coming up, hit the sub button for him. He's interviewed recently the likes of the Puerto Rican Prince Angel Santiago and Gabe Sayers. So maybe it'll be Joey Knight Jr. next. Maybe it'll be Mickey Vargas. Maybe it'll be the Big Horse. But until then, hit the sub button for Rick and check out the ProWrestlingWire.net for all of your pro wrestling news. Let's get to some more comments. Thank you. Give hello to Steven Storm, who's no longer Steven Storm. And we'll get to that, I'm sure, when the time allots. And Skulls is in the house. Skulls is certainly from West. Maybe you can bring some warmer weather from California. And you guys are like the Brady Bunch. But listen, he ain't going to be worried about that on February the 22nd. Yeah, we're talking about the Big Horse, not H-O-S-S. You'll see H-A-U-S. So it won't be K-I-S-S-I-N-G on February 3rd next week. And number one rule in a tag team, trust no one. And that's your point when it comes to Mickey Vargas.
Yeah. I mean, Mickey says it himself. He's unwanted. I mean, what kind of nickname is that in trying to be a tag team guy? Trying to be someone that someone is supposed to trust. Trust their career in your hand when you call yourself unwanted, Mickey Vargas. So, I don't know, just trying to placate things here.
I mean, you know what? I'm going to be asking the Big Horse that question because he has an even more longer standing history with Mickey Vargas than you do. So that's going to be interesting as well, because for some people that may have not known this or forgotten, the Big Horse has traveled to the 716 in the past. Yeah. He has traveled there. So there's a long standing history with those two men. And I am very fascinated to see what the Big Horse has to say. He makes his long awaited return to Sportzwire Radio for the first time in over 5 months. And it is Young Pillar versus the Establishment Extreme Rules match, faction versus faction.
Bring it. Anytime, any place, anywhere. I don't care if it's SSW. I don't care if it's HCW. I don't care if we got to travel to Buffalo, New York and play it in your home territory. Hey, I need to check New York off my states I've wrestled in list anyway. You know, New York hasn't been checked off yet. So maybe we take it up to the big old bright lights of New York.
And we'd love to see Joey Knight Jr. in New York, New York. He may be the Brickhouse, but will he be the king of it all? Joey Knight in New York. Da, 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 da. Just make sure you come downstate because I'm in downstate and he would be in upstate. So if you go upstate toward the Canadian border, we won't be near each other. I just want to point that out. And if you are on Instagram, I do want to point out that if you are here and you haven't follow SSW so you can find out more information on the show February the 22nd. So please do that. Hit the sub button for Rick. I appreciate that very much. And follow SSW. And we will certainly talk about some other things here. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. And if you're here on Sportzwire Radio, hit the sub button for us. And we will be back here Thursday night with a slew of coverage, which I can assure you will be very excited about. Friday, we have on the WVWF Tag Team Champion, Cease and Desist. And we also have Ben DMN. He is the frontman from the French goth metal band Lucas Noir. So you can say that again. But in the meantime, we're going to say more about the 2025 HCW Showstopper of the Year, Joey Knight Jr., who is definitely giving the Commodores and Lionel Richie a run for his money. Also here, that this would be Primo, Marty Two Fly, Nino Extremo, and the Unkillable 716 versus the Dweeb. So that's Mr. Vargas, and obviously he's pointing out that what the match will be, nevertheless, or what you guys are.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just keep on talking, Mickey.
Mm.
You'll get a piece of it on February 22nd, and maybe you'll backtrack a little. You
Mm.
know,
I
put a
see.
little foot in your mouth a little is going to happen on February 22nd if you keep it up.
Well, speaking of other places that you're going to be, which also involves SSW and HCW, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to get your perspective, and I'm sure it's going to be a perspective I'll definitely hear the Big Horse's thoughts on, and as well as Mickey's when he returns on here. And that is this showdown we're going to see in Texarkana, where we're going to see three companies, one ring, no limits, and you got to talk to me about this here. SSW, HCW, and FTWA, When Worlds Collide, and if you thought When Worlds Collided with AEW was one show, well, this will be an even better one because this is war, this is pride, this is wrestling, and it takes place 3 o'clock Central Standard Time at One Legion Drive in Texarkana, Arkansas. And Joey Knight Jr., you are undoubtedly going to be a part of it. And talk to me about your thoughts and who are you going to be representing, HCW or SSW?
Man, this show's been a long time coming. I'm so happy to finally have a show in my backyard of Texarkana.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas, Texas doesn't matter. As long as it's in Texarkana, I'm just so happy to finally have a show here that I get to be a part of. We get to show the people of Texarkana because Texarkana. We've had wrestling companies here before. My original trainers back
Yep.
in the day, Global One, and then also Southwest Pro Wrestling. But it's been quite a few years since a real wrestling company has been in the Texarkana, Texas area. Well, Texarkana, Arkansas as well. And the crew down SSW, they're going to come on, bring some of their guys, and HCW, FTWA, we're going to be represented as well. I will be on the HCW side of things. I will be
Ah.
representing Haybarn Championship Wrestling. There are a few names representing Full Throttle Wrestling Association, FTWA, that we got on. One of them is unfortunately the Sandman, Damian Gray. I will have to see him again,
Ooh.
unfortunately. But me and my boys in the establishment, we're going to be representing Haybarn Championship Wrestling loud and proud. We're going to be showing up and showing out on, you know, for Texarkana, Texas, Texarkana, Arkansas, that whole area. Man, it's going to be a wild night. Well, wild afternoon actually. It's
Oh,
gonna
it's going to be
it,
wild.
it's gonna be a night. It's gonna be a night to remember. Well, day to remember. Jeez.
Well, it's going to be a day to remember, but it's also going to be you and your at home. I mean, that's got to certainly put this into perspective. I know what you've done in HCW. I know what you've done in SSW and even in Tennessee. But now to wrestle back practically in your own backyard, that's got to put even more pressure on you and further in the spotlight.
It definitely does a little, but it motivates me more than it adds on the pressure because I have a lot of people in my circle. I have a lot of family and friends that, they tell me all the time, like, I wish I could come see you wrestle, but hey barn, that's like an hour away,
Yeah.
or you're wrestling all the time in Houston, or traveling Tennessee, or traveling to Central or Northern Arkansas for some of these other promotions. And it's like I get it, not wanting to make the travel. But now to have a show where a lot of my family and friends, they're only a 5-minute drive, maybe a 15-minute drive from where the building is at. Like it's going to be a big night. We're going to pack that place out. There's going to be a lot of family, friends, and maybe people just who haven't watched wrestling in a while. Maybe people that do watch wrestling and watch our stuff in Haybarn Championship Wrestling, but haven't gotten to experience us live yet, and they finally get to experience us for the first time. And I'm looking forward to that. That thought, that fact is not lost on me. And we're going to bring everything we have to make this a fantastic show that the people in attendance that day will remember and just keep coming back for
Absolutely.
more and more.
It's extremely exciting to see, and it's again, it's a triple promotion showdown, and it's going to take place here on March the 22nd at One Legion Drive in Texarkana, Arkansas, and it's interpromotional matchups, dream matches, brand pride on the line. Anything can happen. That's the beauty, ladies and gentlemen, of pro wrestling, and that's why we love it, and that's why we support this sport so much. And it's going to be three promotions, one ring, no limits. We're going to see HCW, which Joey Knight Jr. will be representing, SSW, which I'm sure the Big Horse and Mickey Vargas will be representing, and we'll see FTWA, Full Throttle Wrestling Association, where the Sandman Damian Gray, among others, will also represent. So this will definitely be something we'll talk about, I am sure, between now and March 22nd. We'll get into it next Tuesday with the Big Horse, and I'm very excited when Mickey Vargas comes back on here to get his thoughts on all that. So exciting times ahead, and very exciting times for Joey Knight Jr. And if you're also out there on Instagram, I would highly recommend that you give Joey a follow, because Joey has got a lot of other content out there, and I would highly recommend that you give him a follow, because if you see him here, you definitely know what he brings to the table. So that's why he's the Brickhouse and the 2025 HCW Showstopper of the Year. So make sure you follow Joey on Instagram. And Joey, I understand Tennessee showed up for the first time, and you want to talk about that for a few minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Mid-South Pro Wrestling, I had the opportunity to go out there, perform a couple of shows, one in Ripley, Tennessee, and then the next one the next day in Dyersburg, Tennessee. I finally got to check Tennessee off my bucket list. So shout out to Greg Anthony and the crew out there at Mid-South Pro Wrestling for the invite and giving me the opportunity to showcase my skills on their platform. It was just a great environment to be around, a really nice old school environment that they were offering at Mid South Pro Wrestling, Christian based promotion. So I love that
Good.
aspect of it.
Well done.
And yeah, Tennessee, bam, that's checked off now. Of course, I would love to go back there sometime. I just don't want it to be a one and done with Mid South Pro Wrestling. Like I said, had a great time. Came out with a loss, so hopefully we go back there. You know, justify that situation and put a
That's why
W
you got to
next
get a
time.
win on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, Valentine's Vengeance, because you have certainly not had the same success as Eclipse and Aaron Black at times.
I mean, yeah, it definitely seems like that. I mean, it is like that. I mean, it's the ebb and flows of pro wrestling, and sometimes, like with this current situation that I'm in, you know, I I go back to I got to do a seminar with Mike Bennett recently when I was at
Oh, yes.
Gladiator
Oh, by the way,
Championship Wrestling.
Just had another kid, Mike Bennett.
Yeah, congratulations to him.
Yep.
Mike Bennett, a really cool dude. He was a really awesome guy to be around. If you ever get the opportunity to go to a Mike Bennett seminar, if he's doing one in your area, absolutely do it. Doesn't matter how you got to be able to get there to do it. Do it. It's worth it. Um, and one of the things when I asked him a question, one of the things he mentioned was, in order to survive in pro wrestling, you're going to have this, it's going to go up for a while, but then it's going to start going down or it's going to flatline. And you have to be comfortable and you have to understand the realization that it is going to go down or flatline. Because if you don't already have that in your head, then when it does go to here or stays right here, you're going to get psyched out. So I know, like we talked about earlier, like you mentioned earlier, you could go on a Goldberg long winning streak and then eventually it stops. And you got to have that mindset of, okay, I know this good thing, it's going to end at some point. I'm going to try to make it last as long as I can, but it will stop at some point. And there are going to be bumps in the road. So I'm prepared for those bumps in the road so that way I don't get in my head like I used to before. And I'm seeing the picture a lot more clearer now than what I would have in previous situations. If I would have been in a similar situation, say a year ago around this time, I don't think I'd be handling it as well. But due thanks to experience and a lot of the questions I've gotten to ask with people and the time I've gotten to spend with people like Mike Bennett and, Rodney Mack as well, it's given me that foresight. It's given me that clear headedness of, okay, it's going to suck sometimes. Things aren't going to go your way sometimes, but you got to push through it. And February 14th is that push through date. Like I said earlier, I've been bouncing off that next ceiling for the past couple months. February 14th is the breakthrough on it.
we're going to certainly find out. And that's some great advice there from a guy like Mike Bennett, who's certainly done a lot in our sport. And Rodney Mack is another one that has certainly been there at the biggest stage. And when those guys say something, I'm going to certainly agree. But Joey, I did want to show you something because speaking of being in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, you may want to explain this.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity. I think it's very important. Especially once you get into pro wrestling at any level. Independent wrestling, backyard wrestling, whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to still be a fan. I think it's very important to still have those moments as a fan. Attend these shows when you get an opportunity because ultimately, and whether it happens or not one day, that's to be determined. But, one day I would like to have an opportunity to step foot in a TNA ring in any capacity. And I think it's very important as a wrestler to be there live for these moments and kind of see like what these places are looking for, what reacts with the crowd. And I feel the best way to kind of experience that is live and in person. But thankfully, I had the opportunity to go to TNA. I was able to make it work out. Wasn't as busy in January as I had been in previous months from September to December. As far as my wrestling bookings, January was kind of like a, relax month, rebound month, kind of get the, you know, head right and everything, not keep
Yeah.
myself too crazy busy. Um, so thankfully, I had an opportunity. I was there for the live AMC debut on Thursday, and then I had an opportunity. A friend I know of, she wasn't able to make the show on Saturday, so I got her ticket. So I was able to upgrade my nosebleed to a floor seat. And as you can see right there, I'm all smiles with my HCW hat on, live on pay per view for TNA Genesis, just enjoying the show, front row.
Why, who would have guessed? I mean, boy, Joey Knight Jr. certainly knows how to make an impact, and he's right there. And who knows, maybe one of these days we'll actually see him out there in that ring, and he's certainly on his way. And I do want to say hello to some people. Maybe one day you'll make your way to Roseburg, Oregon, and our friends in BTW and RJS and the rest of the gang. And they had their nice little season 7, year 10 episode, which was a lot of fun to watch for a few minutes. And hit the sub button for the gang. And good to see you, my brother. It has been a minute, and thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you very much. And if you are out there, follow Joey on Instagram. You can also check him out on his YouTube channel where he posts some of these other things, and he posts his wrestling figures, and he posts his places that he's been to, and maybe his places he'll be next. And Joey will be in the ring in a couple of different places. First, you're going to see him on Valentine's Day at Valentine's Vengeance for HCW Haybarn Championship Wrestling, where you can watch him every second Saturday of the month. And he'll be wrestling the HCW social media champion, Chris Preston, in a non-title match. You're also going to see him coming up on February the 22nd in Super Southern Wrestling. You're going to see him alongside the Real Deal Eclipse. We're going to be talking about that match undoubtedly for the rest of the conversation next Tuesday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, with the one and only Big Hoss. And you'll see him, which I am very excited about, in Texarkana, Arkansas, Joey Knight Jr.'s hometown, on March 22nd, 3 p.m. And when worlds collide, and the worlds are going to certainly collide between Full Throttle Wrestling Association, Haybarn Championship Wrestling, and SSW. We're very excited about that. We'll be talking a lot about that in the next several weeks. And I did see that, and I have made a cameo in some other episodes, and I appreciate that very much. And I was once upon a time in Parade Magazine, but when I get a chance to be in shows like BTW, that certainly makes my day more than anything else. So we love the BTW guys, and we look forward to seeing them on here soon. But Joey, before I get to closing thoughts, I speaking of days, even though you've certainly, had quite a day here on Sportswire. We've sung the Commodores' Brickhouse. We've had Michael Jackson's "Wanna Be Starting Something." We've even broke into a New York song. But Joey Knight Jr., it is your day here on all Sportswire radio platforms. You've gotten a few awards. It's not quite the same award as winning the HCW Showstopper of the Year, but nevertheless, on January the 27th, 2026, let it be known on all Sportswire radio platforms, it is your day, sir, and we'll give you the physical copy when we're off the air, and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, well, Joey, we've got a lot here that we've covered, but I want to ask you: do you have any final words before
Just
February 14th for
just
Chris
want to
Pratt?
say, I know it's been a very long time, like you said, 4 months since I've been on the show. So thank you for having me back on here. It was crazy for a little while. I was crazy busy. So hopefully it won't be another
That's
four
okay, Joey.
months before.
I think you've seen some names on here, but since your last appearance, before I get to those final words with Chris Preston, let me recap for the audience in case they forgot, including my friend Maria. We had on Josie Scott, who everybody knows from Saliva, and we know the songs he's done. Rocks. We've done Superhero with Chad Kroeger of Nickelback and Chris Jericho's song "King of My World," and then we had on David Ellefson, only the co-founder of Megadeth, arguably the inventors of thrash metal. Gus G, little known fact, the second longest tenured guitarist for that guy, Ozzy Osbourne, who considered to be the godfather of heavy metal. I mean, we can keep going down this. Mark Farner of Grand Funk Railroad. Raven, how about that guy? Quote the Raven, Nevermore, Sick Boy. I pulled that one, Jump in Jim Brunzell. So we've had, a few names since you've last been here, but I'm happy you're here tonight, which is why I want to give you the opportunity for some final words, first of all, for Chris Preston.
Yeah, Chris Preston, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Seasons are changing. Hey Barn Championship Wrestling. 2026, it's going to be Hey Barn's biggest year. And we're going to put that on the right foot. We're going to kick that off just right by a new face coming in and taking your spot. Eclipse had your number before. Aaron Black, he's had your number before. The only way you beat him because you cheated. And now I'm going to have your number. The establishment is going to own Chris Preston, and we finalize that on February 14th. And then hopefully somewhere down the line, maybe March, maybe April, it'll be somewhere down the line where I fully own Chris Preston and take the social media championship.
I'll tell you what, that is very, very interesting words. And if you're out there, do me a favor, go to the HCW Facebook page where you can find out on how to buy a ticket, support Hey Barn Championship Wrestling. It is Valentine's Vengeance, Love Hurts, Payback Hits Harder. That's with 2 E's, and that's going to take place on V-Day. That's a Saturday, and it's at 841 G Street in Prescott, Arkansas. Bell time is 6 o'clock, which means get there before that. Doors open 5:30. Make sure you're going to be there because Joey Knight Jr. is going to be in action against Chris Preston, and it's going to be, again, Valentine's Vengeance, Love Hurts, Payback Hits Harder. And I also want to say hello to Quick Strike Johnny Velocity, the RWW Prestige Champion, who I hope will get well because his match, which was supposed to take place this weekend, is now canceled because he had just a gruesome toe-looking injury. He needed toe surgery, and I know you had thumbtacks in your face recently, but this poor guy, Johnny Velocity, who's already dealt with health issues, has almost like he has no toes now. He has like no toes. It wasn't gangrene from Winter Storm Fern. It looks like he literally has like no toes. I mean, so please, Johnny, get well. And while you're here and everybody else is here, hit the sub button for Joey Knight Jr. on his YouTube channel, and you can find out much more about him. Yes, hit the sub button. He needs more subs. Everybody needs more subs. To quote REM, everybody hurts for more subs. But we won't break into Michael's Stipe, but maybe we'll one day get REM. All right, I'm going to pass the baton to you. I know you're a busy man. I am very, very curious about next week's show. But in the meantime, Joey, I'm giving you the last word. The floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you, my good man. But yeah, like Tom said, follow me on all the social medias. You can find me on Joey Knight Jr. everywhere, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Follow me everywhere. Subscribe to me everywhere. Boost up them numbers. We're 2026, like I said, it's going to be a big year for the establishment of Hey Barn Championship Wrestling, but it's also going to be a big year for Joey Knight Jr. Got a lot of things under the table right now, trying to finalize some things, traveling to some new places, making my name in some new companies. So, like I said, 2026 is going to be a big year. So you're going to want to be subscribed to all my social medias so that way you can see everything there first. You can get the news from me first on all my social medias, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, wherever it is.
Listen, that's the way it is, and there can't be no other way, to quote an individual that you certainly know very, very well. And I hope that everybody follows Joey on all of his social media channels, and we'll certainly see if he gets that opportunity at Chris Preston. And I do want to stand corrected because I got the wrong injury for Johnny. It was my fingers. Yes, that was crushed in 2024. and he had a horrific injury. Yeah, that was a horrific injury about a year plus ago, and he's had complications with it, and he had to get the fingernails removed. But he'll be back. Yeah, it's a terrible injury. Yeah, it's let's say it's Tony. It's Johnny Velocity, Tony Iommi, and Chris Poland, who have had this similar type injuries. Well, Chris Poland of Megadeth was. It was actually almost kind of his limb, because he was in high school and he was going through a door. He was getting chased, and his hand went like this. And Tony Iommi famously had a horrific incident when he was working in a factory. So it's Johnny Velocity, Chris Poland, and Tony Iommi, which is pretty good company. If I'm Johnny Velocity, I know it doesn't help his fingers any better, because he doesn't have them at the moment with toenails, but fingernails. But to be in the same company as one guy who's the father of heavy metal, and the other guy who's arguably the godfather of thrash metal, I'm sure Mr. Velocity will feel a tad better, not much better, because like I said, his fingernails just got removed. But to be in the same company as those two men, I'll take that. But in the meantime, it's Joey Knight Jr. Day. My friend, I'm looking forward to seeing you back on here, especially after February 22nd. A lot to talk about. I know we will do this, and again, in a lot quicker time, not to quote Quick Strike Johnny Velocity. And I have no doubt that we'll see you in the Real Deal Eclipse and Aaron Black back on after the 22nd. And thank you as always, my friend. And congratulations on winning HCW Showstopper of the Year. We'll see if your luck comes back here in 2 weeks against Chris Preston and beyond.
Thank you, my friend. And yeah, hopefully the luck does come back my way. Like I said, 2026 is going to be a big year, so we got to start it off right.
Absolutely, and congratulations, Joey. You just got another follower on Instagram, so my job is completed for the day, and let's try to get you one more sub on YouTube, because I got a bunch of people here still, so you know the drill. And I want to make sure we get you at least one subscriber tonight, because my guest yesterday, who was here, DB Rivera, who's too ready to quit, we got him, I think it was like 14 new subscribers yesterday.
Hey.
14 new subscribers. Awesome. I don't know if we're getting you 14, but I think we'll try to get you at least one or two. So if you have a chance out there before we sign off, hit the sub button for Joey Knight Jr. I want to say hello to everybody that was here tonight. My lovely friend Maria, Johnny Velocity, thank you for being here. I hope you weren't able to type with those hands. Maybe you're just going like this to put the comments in. I don't know how you do it without fingernails, but whatever it might be. I hope you get well soon out there. We'll talk with the EWA gang here Saturday night. But my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, with all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. I will be back here Thursday night to be announced with who. And until then, be safe out there. Like, share, and subscribe to us. Please support the companies that Joey Knight works for and all the companies that the people here in the chat represent. So until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. On the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all music, all sports, and all wrestling matters. Thank you, everybody, and